Hey, welcome to Pompano Beach. Actually, it's the Fort Lauderdale store, and thanks to Two Wheels World, I'm going to test out this Ducati that they have a trade-in. It has 700 miles on it. Now, it is a 2017, all right? It is a XDiavel S, and we're going to see what this one, what it feels like. I kind of like it as a cruiser. To be quite honest with you, I think it is pretty badass looking and not very different from the current 21 model. Really not much at all. And if you look at this bike, you could say, you know what, this looks pretty badass. I really like the look. The big fat tire in the back has a 1260cc motor on it. This one is 156 horsepower is what it's rated at. It's got about 95 foot-pounds of torque. It's got the dual front Brembos, so let's take it for a spin. All right, I guess the first thing I want to do is figure out how to turn this thing on. Now, this is the first thing I'm going to tell you, is that if you look right in here, this is really a pain in the ass. I don't see how you can get your fingers in there to turn it on. All right, we're in neutral. Okay, sounds pretty good. Let's take her for a spin and see how she does. Of course, these are forward controls, so very different from most Ducatis, if not all other Ducatis, because they're mid to rear controls. Has a spot here for a pillion. Really nowhere for them to sit with this particular setup, but they do have a seat that you can extend out with that. All right, with that being said, let's take this puppy for a ride now. None of these particular XDiavel S's, none of them have a quick shifter. All right, so what's my first opinion here? Just getting through the parking lot. Ooh, good engine braking. Really love the sound of this thing. I'm not going to call this nimble. It's got a pretty short wheelbase on it, but you see what we got going on here. All right. Not a bad bike. Of course, there's no wind protection on this thing. Wouldn't expect to have any. The mirrors are really good Ducati mirrors, so you have a great view in these mirrors. Oh, it's got some beef. Definitely has some beef, and we're coming here to a light. Oh, let me. Ooh, wanted to hear that. Okay, good. Interesting. Very interesting. So, let's see. Typical Ducati. Always hard to find neutral. Anyway, relatively short. I'll put some specs down here as far as the seat height of this thing. Very comfortable. I am easily flat-footed right here, right now. Like, easily flat-footed. Shifting is very smooth. Very smooth shifting. Extremely smooth shifting. It doesn't feel clunky at all. I'm not going to call this bike nimble. This is not what it's designed for. This is a cruiser. I would say if you're going to get on a monster, it might be what you're going to expect. Come on, a little light tap. Oh, look at that. Little light tap going down. Downshifting's a little bit easier. Brakes feel pretty good. Now, this is a used bike, but it only has 700 miles on it. It's been sitting in the Florida. So here's one of the problems you're going to get with all of this cast stuff. It has a tendency to start corroding on you. So this type of material doesn't really work very well in South Florida. at all. The display is small. You really have to look down out of your way to see it. If you're coming from an adventure bike, you know, it's a little bit of an adjustment. Oh, I'm wrong. This says 940 miles on it. That's it. That is nothing at all as far as this is concerned. That is literally nothing. As far as the positioning of it, it feels very similar to the Indian Scout Bobber. It's very straightforward. You do have forward foot controls, like I said, about 10 times, but not too bad. Not too shabby. Let's see what kind of confidence we have. All right. I better cool my jets here with the police around here. Ooh, actually that wasn't too bad. I stood up on the seat for that little bump there. Going over the railroad tracks are typically not the best feel, especially on a Scout Bobber. I will tell you that if you're going to compare this to an Indian or another cruiser, I think you're at another level here. This is really good suspension, but again, it's not super nimble. It is what I say appear to be very light and easily maneuverable, but it's not like an adventure bike or a sport bike. And I would definitely say that the Indian Scout Bobber would feel a little bit more nimble, and probably part of the reason for that would be that big old fat tire back here. Oh yeah, I love using engine braking. The sound of the bike is pretty good. It is, again, like I said, very comfortable, very low to the ground. It's relaxing to drive. Now, I'm not sure this would be an all-dayer or something to go on a long trip. You have absolutely no wind protection in front here. Hold on. And without that wind protection, you're going to get the crap beat out of you. So I put this in the cruiser classification here, and I would think that this would be a nice fun bike just for ripping around town. Probably pretty good for a nice little commuter if you're not going to commute more than, you know, 45 minutes or an hour. I can already tell because of the way my body position is that I'm going to have more stress on my neck, because your feet are up, you're kind of folded somewhat in half, and that's forcing the gravity to pull your head down. You know, I may have to take some of my words back about nimbleness. I really do. I just may have to do that. Okay, so what I did is I just entered it into sport mode to see how that feels and what the difference is as far as the ride. I believe it was in touring mode. I'm not 100% sure. When you look at the menu here, you can click on the menu and you can change what you want it to go in. And I think you have to hold it down once you make your selection, okay? So what I'm going to assume, all right, is that touring mode is your normal mode. Urban mode, it's kind of like Ducati's version of rain mode, okay? But we're going to leave it in sport now. Very familiar to me with Ducati as far as the lights are concerned. The front headlights during the day, I like to leave the high beams on so that I'm more visible, especially since I was hit head-on when I was sitting completely still at an intersection. Any little bit will help. And let's continue on this ride. Now, the seat. What I'm going to tell you is that this seat is actually very comfortable. And it seems to be fitting nicely, especially when you are sitting with your feet forward, okay? One of the things I want to talk about is that we do have adjustable front suspension and adjustable rear suspension on this, and that's kind of one of the things that puts this thing light years ahead of many other cruisers. So let's continue. torque. Feels pretty good. I took that corner in second gear, and it's a little doggy, but I was going slow, but it still seemed to handle it, and it had some responsiveness as I increased my throttle. I kind of like this bike, to be quite honest with you. I really do. Other than the typical Ducati, let's fight to get it in. Look at this. Fighting to get it into neutral seems to be the problem with these bikes. I don't know what the deal is, but for some reason, I'm always struggling to get it into neutral. Now I'm liking this bike. Now, for comparison, I drove my buddy's Harley Fat Bomb, and I just didn't like it. It just felt funky. It just, I just didn't like the way it felt. And this thing, this has style. It feels more powerful. Although I'm gonna continue to say that this, obviously this isn't a sport bike, but it definitely feels more responsive and more nimble than that Fat Bob. That Fat Bob to me was, I don't know how to describe it. I would never buy one. But this thing has some class to it. It's got nice styling. You have your forward controls. It's a cruiser, so you get that badass feel. And I know that's the third time that I said the word badass. And that's really how I'm visualizing this bike. But this is a really nice bike. I do have to give Ducati props on this one. Oh shit! Oh yeah. Okay. So, yeah, this has got some quite the amazing bike, I have to say. So that sport mode kicks in, and it may just be a little bit more head throttle response once we get to the lower end of this thing. Wow, that felt good. That was unexpected, and it felt good. Wow, holy crap! I must be doing something right, because I never hit this light. Ever hit this light. I don't know what the lean angle is on this, but I don't really think it matters, because I think we have no chance to make this out. And I gotta tell you, it is impressive. Really is. Very nice bike. We'll leave it in sport mode to head home. Or back to the dealership anyway. Anyway, sorry about the audio problems. This is just a great looking Ducati. I mean, it's a liquid cooled bike. It looks fantastic, and the suspension is fantastic. Here's the rear shock. It works extremely well, a lot more than any other bike that I've had as far as a cruiser. The forward controls are adjustable forward and backwards, about a ½ inch either way to your liking. And of course, the front end has these great dual disc Brembos, and there's a Brembo in the back. All right, again, the styling is really good, but functionally, this bike works so well functionally. All right, this is where you would adjust your rear shock. All right, the exhaust system sounds fantastic as far as I'm concerned. Look at that wheel. How often do you see a wheel that looks that damn good on a single-sided swing arm yet to boot? This is a kick-ass bike. The fact that it's belt-driven makes it even better, because now it's a lot less maintenance. So I really like that fact. It sits nice and low. Now, I'm not a fan of the front, you know, but it's a minimal, okay? As far as the front, I'm talking about the display and the grips and everything else. The way it comes stock is fantastic. The setup is normal. The seat is super comfortable on this XDiavel S, all right? I do have to give props to the seat as far as this is concerned. You got this big fat tire out the back that looks absolutely fantastic. This is a killer bike, and I like it. This is Rainbow. Hope you like this. If so, like and subscribe. I'd appreciate it. Have yourself a great day, and take care.